again for thumbnails. Welcome to Maclog, Volume 3. Also, you have no idea how precarious the camera is right now. I'm literally balancing it on my makeup powder, and my foundation is keeping the phone upright. Anyway, gotta be resilient. So I don't have a lot of time, so I'm gonna go over this quickly. Day 3, I was going to Albuquerque, and nothing like big happened this day, but there were a bunch of small interesting things that happened. So the first interesting thing that happened was I went to visit Cadillac Ranch, which is some ranch out near Amarillo, Texas, well, in Amarillo, Texas. And you walk onto this person's property, you go through this little spray painted cattle gate, and you walk into this field and there's cows out there. But there's also dead ahead all these really old Cadillacs that are stuck up straight in the ground and have been spray painted by bunches of tourists. So that was interesting. I walked out there and there were a few people milling about. And there was mud all around the cars too, but I looked and there was ice everywhere, so I thought, it'll be fine, the mud's still frozen. Turns out, no, it wasn't. For any of you who have watched the video, it was definitely not frozen and it caked to my shoes. So that was really annoying because they were my favorite shoes and they were really white. So I went back to the car and I scraped off the mud and I started going, and then I realized there was a smell in my car, and then I realized the smell was coming from my shoes because I guess like cow manure was mixed into the mud, because that would make sense. It was a cow field, but anyway, so I thought, well, I'll just wait till it dries and it'll be fine. It was taking a really long time for it to dry, so I thought, I'll just open up the car window. I didn't like to do that because I had to reach over all the other stuff on the other side to roll down that window too, to equalize the air, but that was really dangerous, so I just usually didn't open my windows, but this was bad enough. So I rolled down the window and instantly my car was flooded with a terrible smell. It was my shoe smell times like 100. And I thought, what? And it smelled so bad. And so I looked to my right and there was nothing but fields. And I was so confused. And I looked to my left and then there was just this huge long cattle yard filled with cows. And then they had tarps over huge mounds that were not feed. I don't know if it was manure, but yeah. So basically that was my luck. It was really funny though. So I had to roll up the window, wait till I passed, and then roll down the window. But that was humorous. Anyway, what was the next thing that happened? Oh, as I was traveling, the landscapes changed. They went from yellow and extremely flat to orange and flat. And then little canyons happened. Everything was still very orange. Even the water was orange. We went over this, as in me and my car, went over this tiny little bridge and there was this orange trail of water. It was really sad and pathetic. Anyway, kept driving, saw, the shrubbery, plants and stuff, were just shrubs that were this blackish, sickish looking green. It was really sad. Anyway, I was driving and I looked over at one point and there was this tiny little square patch where all these shrubs were, and I thought, well, we're in the middle of nowhere. Why are those there? And I looked closer and I realized it was a graveyard. It's I see what they were doing there, trying to make it appear more peaceful with plants, but it really just was not working. They should have just stacked rocks or something. I don't know. So that was interesting. Oh, and then there were the mysterious chimney houses. I don't know what they were. I still don't know what they were. But basically there was this tiny, it was too small to be a house, but it had this huge chimney and they were everywhere on certain parts of the property. So if anyone knows what that is, please tell me, because I didn't even know how to Google it. It was confusing. So that was interesting. I went to Tucumari, which is very much a ghost town. Think Radiator Springs in real life and without the cool things like the Cone Motel and, stuff. It was basically just everything was super abandoned. There weren't a lot of people there, but there was this really cool motel that looked old and interesting. And then after that, I went and saw a blue hole. So apparently where was it? I think I was in New Mexico at this point, but there's this thing called the blue hole, and it's a bunch of super clear water, beautiful water in the middle of the desert, and divers come to dive there sometimes. I think it was originally drilled for a well. No, I don't know. It was way too deep. I can't remember. But it's called the Blue Hole, and it was super cool, and it was freshwater, and it was crystal clear and clean and beautiful. So that was cool. And then, finally got to Albuquerque. My Airbnb hosts were so amazing. They were such lovely people, and they actually like wanted to talk. So I had my first real conversation in like 2-3 days, and that was amazing for me because I really miss talking with people. So yep, that's about it. Also, Albuquerque is beautiful at sunset. Like the valley below, it looks like someone just like swept all the stars out of the sky and then like scattered them all over the ground, and they were all like twinkling in different colors. And so as the sunset was going down, there was one mountain kind of like in Lord of the Rings, and that was all black against like this orange pink sunset, and then you had like the glittering valley below, and oh my gosh, it was so beautiful. They have this fair of balloons that happens there sometime. I think it's like the biggest in the world or something, but put it on your bucket list as something to get on a balloon ride and go over the Albuquerque like area and the Rio Grande, the river, at sunset. Anyway, that's about it. I have to leave now because I'm going to go experience California adventure for the first time. So yeah, anyway.